Hey guys, hey, this is, as you well know, Robert Jean here in my office. It's a bit messy. I got a new cabinet. I got a phone call as I was doing this. So anyway, so I got a new cabinet back behind me. It's a dry cabinet for my camera equipment and also for my hard drives. And I have a question I want to answer. Someone had written me, so I'm going to read it over here. It says, "Hi Robert, would you recommend to work on something that happened before I was 1 year old? And I have no idea about it. But my mother says I've been very sick with salmonella, something like that, from milk that they bought when I was 8 months old, and I almost died. And they only saved me because my mother was a doctor at the time, and she pushed everybody to do everything possible. Of course, I do not remember any of it. And they also influence our lives. And do they also influence our lives? Even though I have no memory of it, I will also have to work on such things. Do we need to make it up or just work on what others tell us?" All right, that's a good question. And it's very interesting, too, when you work with memories. And, of course, if you understand how memories work, I think you need to really know more about the mind first. How does the mind work? All right, if you understand that the mind is just a recording machine, and it distorts whatever's being told, whatever it takes in, and also it will store it in the background. It's going to use it again. All right. So if we're talking about something that you have no memory of, but your mother told you about it, the cool thing is, or the not so cool thing is that when your mother tells you the story, your brain will actually create a memory. It's not a real memory, but it's real to you. Now, here's the weird thing is, it's basic learning. Like if you want to go, you want to learn something like photography, or you want to learn math or something, you will watch it on the screen, or even watch my YouTube videos on how to tap. You'll watch it on the screen, and as you watch it on the screen, you actually will learn and take it in. There's a concept called mirroring neurons. Basically, your brain will take what it sees, and it will also mirror it within itself. That means it's going to actually create it within itself based on its own filters and distortions too, because 5 people can watch the same movie, the same event, and have different mirroring neurons firing within themselves. So it's not like you get their energy or nothing, but you translate what you see and make it yours. All right, so when you have a memory, and I've worked with a lot of people who we're working on false memories that aren't even theirs, but it seems real because they listen to a story. Their brain will translate this story, or they'll watch a story or watch an event, or their mother tells them a story about their childhood, which you have no recollection at all. Because at less than a year old, we don't have that kind of ability to record memory that way. So your mother tells you a story, you now, at whatever age, you create a memory. And it's your own creation, and it becomes your reality. And your brain will use this, and the more you rehearse, replay, and revisit a fake memory, it becomes a real memory. Even though it may be your mother's own distortion, it may not even happen that way. And so what's interesting is that how will you work on this yourself if you have some memories that you've been told, but they seem very real? And I remember in the early days, as a matter of fact, one of the practitioners, I think she's level 4 now, in the early days, I was working on a memory of hers where her brother got beat up, and he came home, and she was in the kitchen, and she saw the result of what happened, and his brother tells the story what happened. And so when I'm working on this woman, she actually, in her mind, when she's telling the story, she's watching her brother being beat up by this guy, which she never saw. And so what's interesting is that our brain will create false memories that become real memories for us, and it controls our existence. There's like a young man who I worked on, and I have a tarantula. He's at the house, Jonah. And so he was watching a movie. I think it was Indiana Jones with spiders. And just by watching a movie, you can create a fear. and then being controlled by this fear, because our brains will take false stuff that really isn't ours, but by learning, it'll capture this memory, create a scenario, and create a problem in your life today. So we call the brain, we call it the metaphoric machine, but basically it creates programs from recorded data, that what we watched, witnessed, or personally experienced. Because see, you can learn to have a problem by listening to a story. You can have a problem by merely watching a movie, or your friends telling you a story, or watching somebody else tell a story. One of my true experiences that, Deirdre McGuire and Jeff Nash, they were telling me about a story where they were out, traveling around Hawaii, and they were taking photos and doing stuff. And they tell me a story where they pulled in this one area, and the guys who owned the property locked the gates and said, hey, we're not going to let you out unless you pay money. Now, of course, later on, I tell the story as if I was there, and they said, you weren't there. I said, yes, I was. I remembered I was there. I was in the back seat. Deirdre's up front. And they said, while we were driving, I couldn't remember because it wasn't even really my story. And I almost still think I was there, but they clearly said you weren't even there. So there's a lot of this thing. Deirdre McGuire tells about her sister telling one of her stories, well, her experience, and her sister saying is as if it was her experience. Because a lot of times we borrow people's stories, we create the scenario, we put ourselves in the story that's being told, and it becomes a reality to us, even though it's not really true. Which also tells us a lot about how our minds work, is that you will listen to things, watch things, hear things, or even have a dream and take these and create a real problem. So how do you work on this? Well, first of all, it's easy. First of all, just feel and notice how it bothers you. Tap on what it is, because here's a weird thing about, say, for example, the mother of this child who was sick. Now, this is a major emotional trauma for a mother. And I venture to say the mother's behavior and action and reaction and how she raised the daughter will also implant an attitude about being sick. Unconsciously, not willingly, they just do that. Because we pick up by others' behaviors towards us, and we create a value from this. So it is a bit weird and bizarre about how the mind works. But the cool thing is, with this eutaptics, FasterEFT technology, we can now create our own realities. And the problem with memories, and this is one of the biggest things that I discover, that people have this idea that memories are the actual recording of what really happened. Memories are the facts. But yet, you're sitting around the dinner table, you're sharing a story of an event that we all had experienced, and you're hearing 5 different stories. And they're all different stories of the same event, And then, of course, there's a fight, the police are called. Oh, wait, that's my family. I'm sorry. But that's a joke, by the way. But so here's the fact that memories aren't really meant to be original, unbiased recordings, because you have filters that actually filter what you see and how you represent things. And of course, this is how the brain works. This weekend, my oldest son, Adam, he was helping me do some video recording. And of course, we're talking about events that had occurred in our life between us and our childhood stuff. We talked for a long time about stuff. And of course, it's interesting how his perception of things and my perception of things, and we both share it. And I said, well, and one of the biggest things, because for me as a bonding, and this is what he was talking about, he said, for me personally, my way to bond is that we do things together, like we do stuff. That's my way of saying, hey, I love you, we connect. So I call Adam up, say, hey, Adam, will you come and help me? And then, of course, when he's telling me when he's a kid, because I'd say, hey, Adam, come on, let's go work on some stuff. And he's saying he's really angry and upset that he has to go work with me, but he didn't realize that was my love style. When you love somebody, you do things with them. You do things and you express things. And so it's just interesting how our brains actually wire things together. And also how we each distort things, And we talked about love and how different styles of loves are. And it's just, because he has 3 kids. And he says, wow, talk about, him growing up as a child. And now he's raising his own kids. And they can see that, what we did and how we did and how he does it is, he can just get an understanding. So again, memories are very subjective, like I like what Elizabeth Loftus says, your memories is like a Wikipedia page. You can go in and change it, and so can anyone else. And sometimes they will give us what you call a false memory. And of course, this is how the brain works. So if you're going to work on yourself, You step into your mom, be your mom, feel your mom's stuff. If you see in your mind, however you create this, if you see a sick child in your mind, tap on the child, heal the child. Change the story inside your head, because what you're left with inside your mind is what your brain is going to give you again. It's a great recycler. It's the ultimate beginning green planet program. It just recycles stuff. So what we want to do is, if you're going to recycle your memories, why don't you give yourself better ones? Update the bad ones, turn them into positive ones, and then your brain will use your memories, and your life will reflect what it is that you choose to have inside your head. So that's just a question that Juliet asked, and I said, hey, I'll do a video for you. So anyway, I hope this makes sense. Now again, just remember, if you have a problem changing a memory, an unpleasant memory, and you don't want to do that, you don't want to look at it, you don't want to deal with it, here's the problem. You're going to get it again. So you're going to rehearse it again, you're going to get it again, you're going to give it to your children and your friends. You'll use this as a mission for others. So, all right, let's see. And if such a story from a mother doesn't bother me, it seems not to be me, not my reality. Not reality, do we work on it? I would definitely work on it if you have anything inside your head, because again, feelings and sensations is only one of the 5 types of memory. So what you want to make sure is that you don't even have this concept in your head, and if it doesn't feel real and it's not real, that's good. Create something that you want to have in your head. Create a positive emotional state that will represent what you'd like in your future. Because again, if you can drive your own unconsciousness, now that's the key, drive your own unconsciousness, and putting good stuff inside your head, your brain will replicate that. It'll reuse it again and again. This is what we call the ultimate law of attraction process. Ultimate law of attraction process, because this is really how it works. All right? So I hope that makes sense. It made me want to talk about another question that somebody asked me, because there is a weirdness to this law of attraction stuff too. But I will leave it at that. Hey, Leanne. Hey, guys. Let's see. There's a lot of people saying hello. Hey, Liz. Julia, that's your answer. Gus. Kim Brown. Good to see you, Kim. I'm very proud of you. Sharon Merrifield. She's back in the early days. She's matter of fact, I ran into her just I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, or I don't know what it was. I ran into her. She's the one that we worked on Coca-Cola or Dr. Pepper. I don't remember which now, and she still doesn't have that addiction. So Carolyn Reese went to school with you. Hey, Carolyn. Sylvia. Hey. And all you other guys. Hey, I'm so proud of you. Hey, guys, if the most important thing about this whole thing about yourself is take complete ownership of your whole brain. That means consciously and unconsciously. And learning the technology of your own brain and how your brain works, and prefrontal cortex, logically understand the survival system, the limbic system, which is how the brain records memory, and use your memories against you or for you. Knowing how to rewrite your story will create a better life. Your health will be better. Your relationships will be better. Things won't affect you as bad as if you didn't know how to cope with it, because what I teach is an emotional coping skill. It's a life skill. And it works as you use it. Now, if you don't use it, it doesn't work, Reminds me of a woman that actually on Facebook, she wrote me, she said, Robert, so I worked on her, I bet 15 years ago. And she couldn't leave her home, and she was, she was just trapped at home. It was really, really, really bad. And I worked on her, and 5 years later, she said, it's amazing. My life is free. I have all this stuff. Now, it's been over 10 years ago, maybe so it was 5 years, 10, I bet it's 10 years or more. And she said, why am I sick now? And I said, well, this is a fact. All of you listen to me. Life happens and life changes without your permission. That means there's divorces, there's death, there's moves, there's fires, Children grow up and move away, parents die, events happen, and if you have no coping skill to deal with this, none whatsoever, what's going to happen is you're going to use your best coping skill, and that's the part that didn't work, which means you'll end up storing the trauma, the hurt, and the pain. It'll end up wearing you down, making you fatter, putting gray hair, making you sick, wearing you out, causing anxiety, panic attacks, fears, phobias, health issues if you don't deal with your emotions as you go through it. So, I use a tapping. Tapping settles me. It gives me clarity. It also helps you process and go through tough times easier. If you don't go through the tough times easier, the tough times will wear you down and wear you out. And, life is meant to be lived, not to be stressed, not to be worried. So, and God knows I have been through some really fun times in many areas and different angles, and it still happens. It still happens. Life happens without my permission. And so the deal is I just keep plugging along, keep doing the right thing, and everything will work out for me. And I am responsible for me, and you're responsible for you. So learn how to be emotionally intelligent. All right, guys, I've been rattling enough. So we will talk to you later. Peace. See you in the seminar. Hey, we got a seminar coming up, Oklahoma, in February. Level 1, the master class on how to change your mind. Learn how to heal yourself, change yourself. Because you're stuck with yourself, you might as well learn how to solve your own problem. Peace. See you guys.